Hi, my name is Jamie Rue, and today I'm going to talk to you about the final book in the Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy, A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Okay, so clearly made myself look somewhat presentable for the occasion with the matching lipstick. This book, okay, so I finished this at 3:30 last night, and I filmed a reaction, but it was just so scatterbrained that I have to redo it. So this is it. These are my thoughts, and I'm gonna start with a very, very small non-spoiler section. You have to read this book. If you have not read the Court of Thorns and Roses series, you need to read the series. I don't even know what to say to you except that it is my favorite fantasy series in YA ever. It's so good. It's just so well written and everything about it is just so good. You have to read it. I don't care. I love this book so much. I cried several times. It's so good. It's just so good and pure, and all the characters are so full of life, and the dialogue and the dynamic between characters and the description and the just everything is gorgeous. Go read it. That's all I'm gonna say to you. If you haven't read this entire series, goodbye, because I'm about to spoil everything. Dude, I don't actually know what surprised me the most about this book. It honestly it might have been Tamlin. I'm not even sure. The fact that he came to that meeting between all of the High Lords, the fact that he came, I think, might have surprised me the most, which is hilarious because Rhys died. Rhys straight up died, but there was not really any tension there, right? Because I knew he was gonna live, because clearly Rhys was gonna live, because there's no way that Rhys and Feyre weren't going to end up together in the end. I literally would have tracked Sarah J. Maas down and killed her. This book was total fan service. I'm not gonna lie. As a writer, a little bit appalled. No one died, not permanently anyway. Or no one important died, I guess the dad died, but no one has any major suffering. It's just kind of none of the core group died. Cassian should have died, Amryn should have died. No one died. And as much as I love that as a fan of the books, I don't love that as a fan of the craft of writing. It just doesn't seem very plausible to me. Battles, people die. That's how it works. Cassian should not have lived through that. There was no way he should have been able to live through that. And I'm glad that he and Nesta have a chance to be together, because let me tell you, I ship Cassian and Nesta just about as hard as I ship Rhys and Feyre. And that is freaking saying something, because I love Rhys with all my heart, and I love Feyre with all my heart. I love them. I love them. I love them. Rhys more than Feyre, to be fair. I still find Feyre just a little bit aggravating, but Rhys is so good all the time. And I love Cassian and Nesta almost as much as that. Almost. Elaine and Lucien, I'm very hopeful for the new part of the series, because there were some disappointments in the series, not gonna lie. Tamlin, big disappointment to me. I don't think his treatment was very fair. Let me tell you, last book, despised Tamlin with all of my heart. But there's just something about him that's so heart-wrenching, the girl that you love, and you thought she loved you too. You just want to protect her, and then you think that she's been kidnapped, and so you sacrifice everything to get her back, and in the end it turns out that she didn't even want to be saved, and she's not something that you can fight for because you have absolutely no claim on her. That sucks. From Tamlin's perspective, that's kind of sad. As much as I don't like Tamlin, or the actions he took, or the morals he compromised, or just the way he handles basically everything, I feel for him. And I don't think his arc was fair. I think he and Feyre should have had a final talk. I think there should have been something somewhere that gave him some sort of closure anywhere, and that's what I'm hoping that the second part of this series does. I think he needs closure, and more than that note that Lucien is gonna possibly give him, or whatever happened at the end of that. I wanted more. I just keep going back to that, how he is now seen as this traitor. It sucks so hard for him, because no one trusted him, and for good reason, but no one trusted him, and no one thought he'd make a good choice. As much as I hate him, every single time I think of Tamlin, my heart burns with fury. I hate But at the same time, I feel for him so hard because, like, he thought he was doing what was right, you know? Like, he wasn't right at all. Everyone hates him for it. No one trusts him. All he was trying to do was save the person he loved, you know? Or, like, help them. Or, like, he thought he was helping. That sucks. I really do hope Tamlin is able to be happy one day. I mean, also makes himself, like, a better person, but I hope he's happy one day. I hope they're all happy one day. I hope Lucien and Elaine are happy, and I hope Cassie and Nesta are happy, and I hope Mor finds someone, and I'm glad Amryn found someone, and she can finally be free of this monster. I don't think she's as scary anymore. Like, I don't think she'll wield the same power, and I think that'll frustrate her, and I think that's hilarious, but she doesn't have to be this weird thing anymore. It's just so... Dude, Mor and Azriel, I feel so bad for Az. Like, so bad. So bad. I don't even know what... I mean, it's so cruel of Mor not to, like, just crush his dreams, but it's just so hard to crush someone's dreams, you know? I mean, like, I hope Azriel finds someone who's worthy of him and his, like, devotion. I think Azriel and Elaine would have been real cute together, and I'm sad that's never gonna happen because of Lucien, unless that's where she's going with the second half of this series, because she's writing more, guys. She's writing 3 more. This series says 3 more coming, not having to do with Rhys and Feyre as the main characters, so that's why this is a reaction to the end video, but, like, oof, like, there's more to this series, guys, and I can't wait. Maybe they'll just be in this cycle forever of, like, Azriel loving Mor and, like, Mor not say anything, and like even that makes me happy to some extent. That continuity, if this group had lost anybody, if it had lost Cassian, if it had lost Azriel or Amryn or Mor or Rhys or Feyre or anybody, I can't even put into words what I would have felt at the thought of this centuries-long friendship ending like that. I don't think I could deal with it. Like, that would break my heart as much as my heart broke when Valeris was first attacked. Feyre has grown so much, just so much. She has become such a radically different person since she came to Prithia, and it's amazing. Feyre is not that weak person anymore, and she's not that broken anymore, and like, she's still broken, but she's able to love herself, be comfortable with who she is and with her choices and with Rhys, and like, I love that. I love that so much. I barely remember the person that she was, and the person she was in this book was simultaneously so her and so not her from that first book, you know? Like, the defiance that she has is still there, and like, but so is this immense amount of control and this like power that she never had before, and it's just, and I'm so glad that she's High Lady of Night Court. She's like the only one that's equal, and oh my god, in Ring Court, where that one wife to her husband was like, why can't I be a High Lady? Loving it. I know their names, by the way, I just can't pronounce them, so I'm just gonna be like, that one person. I can't. The names in the series, I can't. Oh my god. The first couple chapters where Rhys and Feyre were separated were absolute torture. God, whenever they talked through the bond and like, you knew Rhys was hurting, oh god, it was the worst. I also didn't like, though, that their father came kind of out of the blue, like out of nowhere. Like, that seemed very like to me. I think there should have been one more scene somewhere where they speculated about their father, because that would have done it. It would have been beautiful if that had happened, but it just didn't fit anywhere, I guess, and like, that's fine. And it just would have made the book that much better if that had happened. And also if there had been any sort of very, very small scene where they got to talk to their dad, like even for like 2 seconds. It just sucks that they didn't get the friendship that Azriel and Feyre formed, though. Like, living for it. Azriel became a vital character. It was so much better than I thought he was gonna be. Like, oh god. Oh, and the whole thing with the bone carver and the mirror and the thing at the bottom of the library and like the Weaver and just everything, all that coming together was beautiful. And also, I felt so hard for that monster at the bottom of that library, let me tell you. Same, man, same. I mean, also, I'm probably not like a flesh-eating monster, but I felt for him a little bit. I can't believe they're gone, by the way. The Bone Carver and the Weaver, I can't believe they're gone. Like, that's insane. They're like immortal and they like risk their lives. Oh, and also when the Bone Carver showed up and Rhys was just like, well, I mean, I guess you beat me to it. And then the Weaver shows up and they're like, great minds think alike. I could never look into that mirror. Whew. Wow. That's a mirror I don't want to look into. That's like the mirror of Idrisid in Harry Potter, but like probably a lot worse. By the way, I genuinely cannot believe that Jurian is a good person. Like, I kind of like guessed it. I was kind of like, oh, Jurian seems like he's kind of on Farrah's side here. He puts on this crazy facade for like a zero reason except that he's trying to apologize. And like Miriam and that dude, like his name starts with a D, I can't pronounce it, coming at the end was like also really random. Dude, I want to see what that interaction was like with Jurian. Did he get to apologize? I don't know. It feels like he didn't because they were avoiding each other. All the scenes with Feyre and Rhys were so cute. Oh god, the Court of Nightmares, please. Whew. Wow, that scene where like she was in charge and it was like so cool, and their whole thing about like wanting to be equal, making clear to each other that they're equals, even though kind of Farrah has more power, just low key. Farrah has more power than Rhys, because Rhys is kind of like, I'm gonna let you do absolutely whatever you want, I'm behind you 1,000%, 100,000% gonna support you. But then I feel like she never has to do that for him. He's like self-sacrificing jerk, and I hate it so much. He has to stop hating himself and blaming himself, and like I want someone like Rhys to exist so badly, but then also I don't, because I feel so bad for him. I feel like not existing would just be a better life, but also their whole thing about everything will have been worth it, like all the waiting will have been worth it as long as I get to spend these couple months with you. Oh god, I can't. That kind of stuff kills me. Absolutely kills me. All the relapses they had in their recovery where Farrah wakes up like sweating from nightmares and like vomiting, and Rhys is also clearly like not okay, and the whole thing with Eris where Rhys is like, if Amarantha walked through that door and it was possible that she could save us, I would align with her in a heartbeat. And later in private he's like, I would literally kill her the second I saw her. He has to put up this facade for like everyone but Farrah, and like even for Farrah sometimes, and I hate it, but also like I love him so much. And that library, the girls who were assaulted, and like how much Rhys cares about them, and oh god, I hate the King of Hibbern so much. I can't believe he did this to everybody. Like I just can't. At the end when Rhys died, like I knew he wasn't gonna die. Of course he wasn't gonna die. It's Rhys we're talking about here. Sarah J. Maas was not gonna kill Rhys. No way. Absolutely no way. Even with the reduced tension there, because you know for a fact that he's coming back to life, I cried because Farrah was so heartbroken, and it's just the perfect mirror image, right? It's the perfect, absolute perfect mirror to what happened in the first book. I can just imagine Farrah like sitting there crying and like demanding that they bring him back, and who can object? Because Rhys, as terrible as he may have seemed all these years as Amarantha's whore, he's still wonderful. I don't think that a person as good as Rhys exists in the world. I don't believe it. Like, it's just not possible. I wish there was someone as selfless as him and as powerful as him and as loving and caring and kind, and like everything about Rhys is just so perfect. The fact that he's just so much more powerful than everyone else, that's horrifying. For a second, I really thought Tamlin wasn't gonna help. Before I remembered that clearly Rhys is coming back to life, I really thought for a second that Tamlin wouldn't help. Rhys is all I want out of life. Can I have a Rhys? Like, is that possible? So self-sacrificing and like worthy of love, and he doesn't see it, and it just makes me so upset because like he's so good. And he doesn't see that. He's so good. All I want is for him to be happy. As long as he's happy, I'm happy. The last scene, we're lying together, and it's just wonderful and like picturesque, and everything is perfect until like it's inevitably gonna fall apart later in the series. I also feel so hard for Lucien, by the way. Oh my god, he got the short end of the stick all the time. He wasn't even in the book that much, and like he had to go through the Autumn Court and Elaine and her whole thing about, oh god, I felt so hard for him. Like, I felt bad for him, like, honestly. Tamlin won't even acknowledge him at the end. Oof. When Lucien was introduced to Valeris, and he's like, I cannot believe, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would never, ever believe that this facade that you've been putting on for years and years was fake. There's this city that's amazing, and you've kept it hidden, and he's like so impressed. I just want to see Valeris. I want to see something like that. That's my dream out of life. And they did such a good job rebuilding Valeris after Hibbern's attack on it in the Court of Missouri, and I hate the idea that Valeris isn't safe anymore because it's not secret, and I hate that, and I hate the idea just as much as Moore did that people from the Court of Nightmares could like come there, because like, I would never ever like that, it like burns me up inside, just the thought of it. Like, just as it kills me as much as it killed Moore. And like, I love this. I love the conclusion to their story. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I had problems with it, clearly. I talked about them throughout this very scatterbrained review. Like, I don't think it compares to A Court of Mist and Fury. I think nothing can compare to A Court of Mist and Fury. I loved that book too much for anything to compare to it. If I want to just feel all of the feels, I pick up A Court of Mist and Fury and I read the scene where Rhys is telling her everything and she serves him the soup, and that still kills me. And I think that book made such a big impact on me that this book is not nearly going to have that. The second book had all the drama and all the heartache and all the romance, and like this had some of it too, but I was so secure in the fact that Rhys and Feyre were together and nothing was gonna get between that. There was some lacking tension for me. I knew they were gonna win against Tiburn. Like what was gonna happen? Like, they were gonna lose? I mean, I guess they could have if she was gonna continue it, but that was never gonna happen, and I knew it was never gonna happen, and I guess that gets rid of some of the tension. I also just think her mastery of the English language is absolutely unparalleled. Her dialogue, the way that everyone interacts with each other, and everyone is so different and like consistent. Cassian, Moore, Amryn, they're all such distinct characters. Feyre is beautiful, and the dynamics between all of them are so different. It's incredible to me that she's able to do this. And the descriptions, like, my god, if I need reference for battle writing, which I often need because I'm terrible, absolutely horrible, she's so good. She's like simultaneously so nondescript, but then like you know exactly what she's trying to say. I don't know how she does it. I don't know. She has something about the English language just down. Like, she just gets it. Like, I don't know if that's her, I don't know if that's her editor, but like someone is doing something right in these books, and just the way everything plays out, the dynamic between the characters and the wit that everyone has, and like somehow they crack jokes without like going wildly off topic, and it's just everything just works and everything is so natural. And you know that scene where Lucien is just like sitting there and watching them all interact just like Feyre was in A Court of Mist and Fury? That kind of scene could be so boring. It could be so boring just sitting there and like watching people eat, but somehow, some way, Sarah J. Maas makes this interesting, and I love it. As a fan of this book series, thank you so much for writing such a beautiful conclusion to the story of two characters who I've grown so emotionally attached to. Alright, but thank you so much, Sarah J. Maas, for writing this book. I will cherish it forever. I'm going to go and probably reread this series as soon as I finish AP testing. Until then, bye.